Think of engineering, we may think of ships, bridges, wind turbines, rockets and cars, because engineering is the application of science to the manufacture and use of a machine. What is genetic engineering?
Genetic engineering is about living things. It is about moving genes from one organism to another. Engineering and genetic engineering are similar because we make things in each case and are working to help society. However, they are in different scale. Engineering is on a bigger scale and genetic engineering is on a tiny scale.
So, what is genetic engineering anyway?
Genetic engineering is when we genetically modify cells to help society.
And how do you do that?
It has many steps. Listen in and we'll show you our example of how to make a human insulin from bacteria. Step 1. Here is an isolated human chromosome and a bacterial cell. The bacterial cell contains a chromosome and a plasmid. The chromosome contains genes which the bacterium needs. The plasmid also contains genes. Bacteria can pass plasmids between themselves. The human chromosome contains the gene for insulin. We isolate this chromosome for a human cell.
Step 2. We isolate the plasmid from the bacterium. Step 3. We cut the plasmid open with an enzyme and insert the human insulin gene. The plasmid is sealed by an enzyme. Step 4. The plasmid with the gene is inserted back into the bacterium.
Step 5. The bacteria are encouraged to reproduce. We get lots of bacteria with the human insulin gene in them. These bacteria make human insulin. Human insulin is used by diabetics to help them to control their blood glucose. In the past, insulin came from pigs, and some diabetics took allergic reactions to it. So making human insulin has solved this problem.
Another example of genetic engineering is golden rice, but if you want it you'll have to go abroad.
What's golden rice?
Let me explain. The problem is that in poorer countries the people can't afford a healthy diet and therefore become deficient in vitamin A. Deficiency in vitamin A causes blindness and infections. But the genetic engineering has solved this by turning the gene for beta-carotene back on in rice grains so they can now contain beta-carotene. This is helpful because vitamin A is made from beta-carotene in our cells, so if we can take in beta-carotene, then we can make vitamin A.
Wow, that's amazing!
Yes, but it costs more than normal rice and therefore isn't helping the poor people it needs to.
That's not good, but the idea is mind-blowing.
Another example of genetic engineering is to rebuild the coral reefs that have been lost.
How do they do that?
Well, healthy coral contains algae which photosynthesizes and helps the coral by making food for it. The algae make the coral brightly coloured. Coral is a great habitat for fish, but in some places around the world, the algae are leaving the coral. The coral will lose their colour. This is called coral bleaching.
Why did the algae leave?
It's because of climate change. The oceans are getting warmer and more acidic.
How can genetic engineering help?
Well, scientists are putting a gene in the algae to stop it from leaving the coral.
That's great. I love those programs where you can see lots of tropical fish in the sea. It would be good news for fishermen and help with tourism too.
Did you know if you're abroad, you will have a high chance that you're eating genetically modified tomatoes?
No, I didn't. Tell me more about it.
Well, to start with, genetically modified tomatoes, also known as GM tomatoes, were designed to have a longer shelf life, so they don't ripen as fast, then turn moldy.
That sounds interesting. How do they do this?
They have to give them a longer shelf life by identifying the gene responsible for ripening, then block it. So GM tomatoes don't ripen as fast and last longer. Fact: genetically modified foods were banned in the UK. Some people don't seem to like the idea of GM foods, as there can be unpredictable mutations. They can also lose nutritional value.
Did you know without genetic engineering people could die? Genetically modified stem cells are being used to treat people with heart attacks. The stem cells can repair damaged tissue and improve how the heart beats. The stem cells are genetically engineered so they aren't rejected by the body. However, this is an experimental technique, and stem cells can cause cancers too.
So, this use of genetic engineering, it still needs some work.
Genetic engineering, the end.
Credits, voices, research, scripts, and artwork. Samuel, Stella, Alyssa, and Kelsey. Producer, Miss Lambard. Filming and editing, Boss and Maya. Acting, Alex and Jaren.